Hello and welcome to UWS News. I'm Olivia Armstrong.
And I'm Connor Park.
Court of Session has refused private prosecution for families seeking justice for victims of the Glasgow bin lorry crash 2 years ago. Tighe reports.
It was on a Christmas shopping day just like this in December 2014 that the lives of so many were affected by the Glasgow bin lorry crash. After the Crown decided not to prosecute the driver, Harry Reid, families of the victims, along with victims' families of a fatal road accident in North Hanover Street in 2010, attempted to privately prosecute Mr Reid. Today's Court of Session ruling made it impossible for the families of the bin lorry crash to have any sort of private prosecution. This also affected the victims of the families of the 2010 North Hanover Street accident. After the ruling, I discussed the significance of the decision with senior law lecturer Dr Nick McKerrow from Glasgow Caledonian University.
The High Court ruling today wasn't a surprise because, for me anyway, because it's such a rare thing for a private prosecution to be applied for. It's only happened twice in the last 100 years. Would have raised an issue about our authority in giving the Crown Office that decision to prosecute crimes. They're exploring the tradition in Scotland of us giving the Crown the right to prosecute crimes.
Today's Court of Session judgment marks an end to any possible private prosecution being brought. As yet, there has been no reaction from any of the victims' families. Tighe, UWS News, Glasgow.
Following the controversy surrounding Scotland and the trigger of Article 50, our reporter Callum Kerr went into the streets of Ayr to discuss whether Scotland's voice should matter when it comes to Britain leaving the EU.
The SNP have insisted that Scotland must have a say on Britain triggering Article 50. The country voted 62% in favour of remaining in the European Union, and SNP MP Alex Salmond has said that Britain deciding to leave without word from the Scots will lead to a constituency crisis. One constituency represented by SNP at Westminster is Ayrshire. I've came down to the seaside town of Ayr to find out what the people of Scotland really think.
Yeah, separate country, always have been with a legal system, and we still get the Anglo-Saxons tried to run this as the last bit of the empire. Yeah. They've controlled it for years, so let's get shot at completely. And surely to goodness, have we enough guts and stuff on our own side to do something about it?
Well, due to the result of the UK referendum, I think that we vote as Britain instead of Scotland independently due to the result of that referendum. I don't agree as a crisis, but I think it totally depends on your identity as a Scottish or a British citizen and what way you view yourself.
So it's clear that opinion in Scotland is divided. One thing that is for sure though is that the SNP will fight to have the voices of that 62% heard. What will happen when Article 50 is triggered? Only time will tell. Callum Kerr, UWS News, Ayr.
Thanks for that, Callum. Ayr Town Hall today hosted a Strictly Seniors event in order to try and combat social isolation among the elderly at Christmas. Our reporter Ross Clark went along to find out more.
I'm here outside Ayr Town Hall where Volunteer Action South Ayrshire are hosting a Strictly Senior dance event. Let's take a look at what's going on inside. Do you think it's highlighted at Christmas time, the whole social isolation aspect?
I think it's something that it maybe is more highlighted at Christmas, but it's something that's there all year round. It's not just there for Christmas. People do become social isolated, but this encourages folk to come out, meet other people and just see what's happening in the community.
According to a study from Age Scotland, almost 65,000 Scots aged 60 and over feel lonelier during the festive period.
A lot of people don't go out and they won't go out on their own, so you find that most of them all come in a group and then it gets them out and it gets them to know all the services that are available.
I think anything that we can do in terms of encouraging people to be more involved in their local communities and feel a part and have a sense of purpose can only be a good thing.
I think that it helps to give people information that otherwise they wouldn't get.
So it's obvious to see events like these are beneficial to our senior citizens and the wider community as a whole. Ross Clark, UWS News, Ayr.
University organisations in Ayrshire are competing against each other to help the hungry this Christmas. Staff and students at UWS and SRUC have been encouraged to donate generously to a new food bank. We sent our reporter Callum Scott to get a sense of the rivalry.
Today I'm at the University West of Scotland to speak to Mark Hamilton, who's in charge of the IT department's food bank collection campaign.
Everyone can see that around us, things are incredibly hard for some people. You name it, we've got austerity, we've got cutbacks, we've got changes to the social system, and now we've even got Brexit that's having an effect on the economy.
Mark told us about the ongoing competition with SRUC.
Decided to have a competition with the SRUC to see who can actually generate the most amount, which I think is a good form of competition when it's charity.
Next up, SRUC, where I spoke with Sharon Cowan to hear her thoughts in the food bank collection campaign.
I just think it makes you realise just how lucky a lot of things we take for granted, like going home, heating food. You don't realise just that some people don't have that. When I get to the supermarket, I'll just put things in the trolley and don't really give a thought that a lot of people can't do that. They don't know where the next meal's coming from.
That's who's got to win the big race
definitely
then?
SRUC, without a doubt, and we'll use any means to win.
The Christmas spirit is here for all to see, and we sincerely hope the food banks get all the help that they can, especially in this festive period. Callum Scott, UWS.
Rehearsals are underway at UWS for the new production of the award-winning musical Legally Blonde, premiering at the Gaiety Theatre in Ayr this January. Adamczak went along to the rehearsal to see how they were getting on.
The practice for Legally Blonde is now on for its premiere at Gaiety Theatre on January 25, which means Harvard's favourite girl is back with the pinkiest musical of the year. We're in front of the practice room to interview students who are preparing for their big premiere. We spoke to Flora Hamilton and Russell Point.
I'm excited. I'm very nervous. I've never had the main part before. Everything you do, you kind of want to put your take on it. So I've watched both the West End version and the Broadway version, which are quite different actresses, obviously. And then I've watched quite a lot of clips of people playing Elle, just to get like a view of loads of different ways to do it. Although it's quite girly, it's very funny. So I think this is the kind of musical where anybody will enjoy it. So like guys and girls can come along and watch it, and I think it'll just be like good fun.
By the time January comes around and we've got a sort of 2.5 week intensive rehearsal period, and when that comes around, I think everything will just start to steamroll, and the show will come together really quickly.
All the students are thrilled about the premiere. If you have no plans for January, get the tickets now for the funniest musical of 2017. For UWS News, Ayr.
Thanks, Ada. We're now joined by Lewis Kemp for today's sports news.
Thank you, Connor. Partick Thistle host unbeaten Celtic tonight, looking for their first win in 5. Hamish Carton travelled to Firhill to gauge opinions ahead of the match.
Celtic face Partick Thistle tonight here at Firhill Stadium in Glasgow in Friday night Scottish Premiership action. Thistle sits second bottom in the league with 14 points. However, Celtic are riding high at the top of the table, 8 points clear with 3 games in hand. However, they may have a European hangover after playing in the Champions League against Man City on Tuesday. So how do the fans think the game will get on tonight? We spoke to Partick Thistle fan Danny, who believes that his side could surprise the champions. It's a big game at Firhill tonight. Celtic the visitors, you're a Thistle fan. How would you see the game going tonight?
Just holding a bit of hope more than anything. Not looking in the greatest position in the league right now, and Celtic are going pretty good, but wait and see.
Do you try and write games like this off tonight, do you think? Is it about the games against the teams around you that matter?
Aye, for me pretty much. I think the games against the Hamiltons, Dundees, the important ones, Celtic, Aberdeen, games we're not expected to win, so if we get anything, that's a blessing.
Prediction? I know this might be painful.
1-0 Thistle, just a lead.
Bit of faith there from the Thistle fan. There you go, Danny, the Partick Thistle fan, thinks that his side can get a 1-0 victory against Celtic tonight. However, you can get odds of up to 10-1 on that happening tonight here at Firhill. We'll find out. Kick-off is at 7:45 live on BT Sport tonight. Hamish Carton, UWS News, Firhill.
The Ayrshire Derby has returned as Kilmarnock were drawn with Ayr in the SFA Youth Cup. Our reporter Kevin Craigens finds out more.
I'm here at Somerset Park to get the action on the Scottish Youth Cup draw, which is Ayr United under-20s take on Kilmarnock under-20s. I spoke to Head of Youth Development, Davy White.
delighted with the draw, as are the players. More importantly, the players are delighted with the draw. It's been tough to get to the quarter-final stage and to get a local derby in it. It's exciting for the players, and it's very motivational for the players.
So there really should be no excuses for the team, as they should be really motivated. But how important is it for the fans and the community?
Really important, I think. I have to say that. Certainly, there's not been a local derby at this level in terms of 20s age group, which, as I said to you before, is kind of the age group below the first team. It gives the local community a real chance to see where Ayr United youth players are.
We didn't know where the players were, so we thought we'd go look for a fan instead.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Hopefully we'll get a decent crowd and it'll be a good game.
With the game on the 22nd of January, we can only wait and see. Kevin Craigens, UWS News, Ayr.
Thanks for that, Lewis. That's all from us here at UWS News. Have a very Merry Christmas.